Good evening to a new episode of Rebuild on DeFiChain. In this format, we will present it in the past community projects and what's happening on their side. And today we have a new episode. I mentioned it in the news show before of the DeFiChain lottery. So I'm very happy that the guys are here and present what they built on DeFiChain. But before we start with the content, please give us a like. This helps the channel to grow. Subscribe and click the bell button so that you will not miss any further show here on this side. You can also give us a comment later on if you are not watching live. Ask questions about the community project. This also helps the guy that they know what's happening on the community side, and YouTube algorithm will optimize their search result. And then we can directly start with a short introduction. Who is on the stage today? It is Adrian and Chris, the two guys, built up DeFiChain Lottery, a successful CFP of the last voting round and now live on the mainnet. But I think you will present more details about the community project. But maybe a few words about you. Who are you? What are you doing on DeFiChain? Adrian is longer known here. The one or other maybe saw the name before. Also Chris is known, but yeah, just give us an introduction of you.
Hi, good evening. I'm glad to be here. I'm Adrian, and I think a lot of you know me about already. Last year, I created one CFP DFI signal, which is informing the masternode owners by Telegram about new blocks. Together with Chris, I created Dobby, and now we created together the DeFiChain lottery.
Cool. Chris, also a
Yeah,
few
hi
words?
everyone. Thanks DC for the invitation. I'm Chris. I've been around DeFiChain maybe since 2021, beginning of 21. And as Adrian just mentioned, we've done a couple of projects together. Dobby is one of them, and now DeFiChain Lottery. So lots of cool things happening.
Cool, really great, amazing. One project after another. So you're spending a lot of time on DeFiChain, I think. But yeah, who wants to start of you presenting us DeFiChain lottery? Adrian,
I can go ahead.
should
Yeah,
I
Chris,
switch
So if
to
we,
the
go ahead.
presentation mode?
yes, please. So if you just open up the web browser, we thought we're gonna present you the website and walk you through the website. It's probably easier than just yet another PowerPoint presentation. So as the title already said, DeFiChain Lottery. Adrian and myself thought maybe in the bear market it would be fun to have a little bit of games on DeFiChain, and the lottery seems to be quite a nice idea. You put in some money and hopefully you win something. So what we're going to show you here is basically what DeFiChain Lottery is, how it works, maybe a little bit of background on how it works under the hood, how do we do the drawing, how can you actually win, how can you invest, and how can you check whether you want something. So I'll just jump in, and then Adrian every now and then will complement as well. So we came up with this lottery system, which is a very basic one. It's basically 6 numbers, with 6 digits from 0 to 9 in order. And basically the goal is to win the jackpot, which would be 6 correct numbers. But in our case, we also allow to win with a bit less of a luck. As we know, with 6 numbers, you need 1 of a 1 million chance to win the jackpot. This is maybe a bit difficult to reach, but when you check down the website and we scroll all the way down, we have these 6 numbers here, and we have already the first bucket that is allowing to win, which is basically if your first number is correct. So we give you already a chance of 1 to 10 to win within the first bucket. And then we try to match all these 6 numbers from left to right. So it's important that it has to be in order. So you either have the first number correct, or the first 2 numbers, or the first 3 numbers. And what you also can see on the website down here is even if you have 5 numbers correct, but the first one is wrong, then that will be a very unlucky situation and you will not win anything. So what we've done is basically we, depending on the amount of tickets that you have, and depending on which bucket you get, so a bucket will be like the first number matches, second number matches, and so on. You would get the part of the pot, depending on the size. So I'm not sure you can actually read that, but if I just go into a bit more, here you see the distribution, like the first match number will get 2% of the bucket, and that's like the whole pot. 3% will be for the second match, and it goes all the way down to 6 matches, which will give you 40% of the pot. Now, this means that you're eligible of that pot. It also means that other people might also have 1 match or 2 matches, and it means that you would basically distribute the pot size of that bucket across all the winners in that specific bucket. Then what we can see here is also the distribution. So we have a pot size which is obviously 100%. Only 80% of the prize fund actually is going towards the users. So this is actually the prize giving. So from this 80%, basically you see the distribution down here from 2% to 40%. If you add up these numbers, you get to 80%. Then we have 8% of the pot would then go into the burn. So we're going to burn DeFi. 2% is going to the DeFi donation fund. So whenever you buy a ticket, 2% of that ticket price basically will be donated to the DeFi donation fund. And then we have a marketing fund of 10%, which is here for marketing. So let me just go back here. Now, one great thing is, luckily, we got the CFP approved by you, the masternode owners. So thank you very much for that. So the CFP basically was about getting 20,000 DeFi. That is purely to put it into the pot. So as you can see here, we have at least 20,000 DeFi in the pot. So that's 20,000 DeFi from the community fund. And we had an amazing start on Saturday. So the last couple of days, we collected over 10,000 DeFi worth of tickets. So that's pretty amazing for the first couple of days. I didn't think we would get that far. So already 30,000 DeFi ready to be distributed. And if you go down to the website, you can actually check here the pot size. You see the time draw. So it's another 9 days and 23 hours before the drawing is completed. If you go to the show details page, you can see exactly how much DeFi is distributed to all of the pots. So we see current pot size, 30,000 DeFi. Then the first match bucket basically gets 755 DeFi, and you see also the chance of winning, which would be 1 to 10. Then bucket match 2 will be 1,133 DeFi, and so on. It will go all the way down to 6 correct ones, which would be an amazing 15,100 DeFi that you could win if you hit the jackpot, and you're the only one. So another question is, how can we go ahead and buy tickets? As you may be aware, that the DeFiChain lottery in the beginning is a centralized solution. That means that we have developed the system that basically monitors an address on DeFiChain. And whenever you send the DFI or the USD, we'll go and create tickets for you. We basically manage the whole state of the lottery, and we manage also the funds. Whenever the lottery is over, we're going to distribute the funds according to the winning tickets. In the long run, the plan is to completely decentralize this part. So we are waiting for DMC or the meta chain of DeFiChain to come online. I think that would be a perfect use case to have the first completely decentralized lottery on DeFiChain running inside the DMC. So that being said, if you want to buy a ticket now, all you have to do is basically click here on Get Your Tickets. What you will see here is a bit of a warning, which basically says that we only accept DFI and DUSD on that address. So you have to tick the box. And we also mentioned that you are not, or you cannot send DFI or DUSD from any exchange, including Cake. The reason here is whenever Cake sends a fund, it comes from whatever address. It can be quite random. So this address would actually take the win and not your address. And this is the reason why you cannot send funds directly from Cake, and it has to come from a private wallet, such as maybe the Light wallet, or it could be also the full node wallet as well. So once you click in here, you get to this model here, and basically you can check how many tickets you want to buy. 20 tickets, it will tell you send either 20 DFI or 13.34 DUSD. And maybe here a quick note, why DUSD and why is it more DFI than DUSD? So we thought at the moment we want to burn DUSD, and maybe that would be the perfect moment where people could invest their DUSD. What we do in the background is we take the USD, we swap it into DFI. During the swap, obviously through the DEX fees, which is at the moment at 12.5%, and we're going to burn the USD. And basically as an incentive for you to send the USD and go through the burn, we give you 1.5 times the amount of tickets. So basically for one DFI, you get one ticket, but for 2 DUSD, you get 3 tickets. And this has been massively used the last couple of days. I think that the majority of tickets have been generated through the USD. And you can also see here on the left side that you have already burned 1,715 DUSD. And that burn has only been generated through the DEX stabilization fees. So whenever you swap DUSD to DFI.
Okay, may I ask one question? Because I saw it also before. So the base is 1 DFI is 1 ticket. So that's the starting point. Which price are you using for the USD? So for the conversion, is it the DEX price or is it a fixed price?
At the moment, it's a fixed price of 1 DUSD equals 1 ticket, but you get the 1.5 times the ticket. So for the next drawing, this is actually going to change a little bit because our initial calculations was based on 30% DEX stabilization fee and $1 US dollar for 1 DUSD. But at the moment, the USD is in a discount, plus the stabilization fee is lower. So we might decrease a little bit on the amount of tickets you get, but you will still have a benefit in comparison to DFI. But that's going to be for the next drawing.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, once you've done that, you basically here you have a QR code or the address. All you have to do is you send either DFI or DUSD to that address. In the background, what's happening is we have 2 individual scripts. One is basically monitoring for new incoming DFI. As soon as we see that, we basically store the information of how many DFI you have sent. We store that including your address and the transaction IDs. And also we make sure that we send you back the change. So basically we ask you for 1 DFI for a ticket. If you happen to send 1.5 DFI, the 0.5 DFI will eventually come back to your address after the drawing. For the DUSD process, it's quite similar, just that we collected the USD, we swap it into DFI, and then we generate the tickets for you according to your address, the amount of USD you sent, the DFI that were swapped, and the 1.5 basically leverage that you get on the ticket count. So maybe Adrian, you can maybe chip in and say what happens once we have deposited the user's DFI.
Sorry, what do you mean?
maybe you can elaborate what the system does once the DFI have arrived on the address.
Okay. Yes, on the backend side, we have a cron job running, which is monitoring the database, and every time the script adds some new data to the database, it's recognizing it, collecting the amount of DFI, and then it calculates the amount of tickets out of the DFI and generates the tickets. So every ticket we are generating depends on the transaction fee and the DFI amount, and then it's calculating the ticket number out of it. So basically, every ticket number is really randomly, but we have one exception. If you are sending more than 10,000 DFI, we are splitting it because in every deposit you're making, we want to guarantee that every ticket number is unique. So if one ticket number is coming twice, we are skipping it and calculating the next number, so you can't get 2 times the same ticket number. Maybe, Chris, we can show the check winning screen because this is the next one.
Absolutely. So for this, I will just show this in the beta version because there you have we have the tickets and we also have the winnings from the last drawing, so it's easier to show. So once you paid in, it actually the whole process takes a couple of minutes. I mean, every minute we check for new transactions, but like until the tickets are generated, I think you have to wait up to 5 minutes before you see that. So what you can do, you go to check winnings, you enter the address, that's your address where you're sending it from. Click on check address, and then basically you would see your tickets. In this case here, the drawing has been completed. Again, this is on the beta version. You can see here that the winning numbers are 965838. Down here, you would then immediately see that this one would have won 2,569 DFI. I hope you can actually see that.
Yes, it's possible. No problem.
And then below you see all your tickets. And you would see the tickets, and you see that the first ticket here has a match of 3. So it basically had the first 3 numbers correct. And that has basically 1,697 DFI. Then the second ticket has 2 matches. And there's a couple of 2 matches here. And there's a couple of 1 matches below. So you immediately see here your tickets with your tickets numbers and also how the winning is. And you can go back to older ones and basically just check how your winnings were based on the address that you provide. So once the drawing happened, you can also go down on the website and then you see the pot size, the winning number. So that happens after the drawing. You can go to show details, and then you would see here the distribution of the pots. So you have the price pot, which was here 82,000 DFI. 10,000 DFI were paid out to the winners. 84 DFI were burned, 21 donated, and 72,000 DFI were rolled over. Rollover means that if a bracket or a bucket doesn't have any winners, we'll just take that money and put it into the next pot. So for the next drawing, that will just roll over to the next one. Then here basically you see the overview. The first matching number, in this case 8, has a total of 2,000 DFI in there. There's 101 winning tickets. And you divide that by 101 and you get basically a 20 DFI per winning ticket. And so you see that for all the matches. Then at the end, basically, you see some information. You see the drawing ID, and you see basically some information on how to verify the drawing. And maybe Adrian can explain that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the end, you see the transaction, which the last drawing was pending because we didn't pay out the transaction. But you would then basically see the transaction details. So in a nutshell, what happens after the drawing, about 5 minutes later, there's an automation process that takes all the winning tickets and it processes it against the addresses, and it will then send out the money or the DFI to all the users that want something. So for the production live lottery system, I think the first drawing, we're going to manually trigger that script. So it's fully scripted and automated, but we just want to manually double check that all the numbers are correct before we hit enter, not risking to send out some strange numbers to the people. But other than that, in the beta, we have been running that in full automated version. We've done one drawing per day without any issues, so that should work just fine. So now comes maybe to the idea, what happens with the drawing? How can we verify that we didn't tamper with it? And maybe Adrian can explain that a little bit.
Okay, great. Can you hand over to GitHub, please? Okay, and I think we can scroll down a bit. So, as mentioned before, we are generating the ticket numbers really randomly with a cryptographic function. It's random int. And then we fill up the number with zeros at the beginning because we are generating a number. Here we can see the code snippet rand 0 to 999,999. And maybe the final number has not 6 digits. So we are filling it up with zeros at the left side. So every number will have 6 digits. So the next thing is we are generating a hash. This hash contains one hash per ticket, and it will contain the transaction ID, the ticket number, the block height we received, the deposit, the timestamp, the sending address for the deposit, and the amount. And all these details will be hashed to one MD5 string, and we are storing it at the database because it's a cheaper calculation at the end. We will see it in a minute. So, and after the draw is finished, we will go through all the MD5 hashes from all tickets ordered by the creation date. And then, please scroll a bit down, Chris. Exactly. Thanks. And then we are generating a new MD5 hash over all the MD5 hashes. So we get a smaller hash, smaller string, and the CRC function will convert this string to a number. This is very important because this number will be our seed. And you know it from your ledger or some devices like that. All the times you're entering the same seed, you will get the same result. So if we are seeding the random function with our seed generated out of the hashes, we will get all the times the same winning number. And maybe we can click on the link at the end, validation tutorial. There we created a small snippet. This is the first one showing how to hash, how to create the hash for each ticket. And at the end, we are giving one example how you can validate it by yourself, because all the data for each tickets we are publishing after the drawing over our public API. Then you can load all details and calculate it by yourself if you get the same winning number as we did.
And so here, maybe for the ones who doesn't know, hashes work in a way that if you change a little bit, just a tiny bit on the information, the hash will be completely different, which basically means, it's like if you change on a ticket, you would change the number or change the transaction or something like this. You put create a different hash, and this would also create a different drawing number in the end.
Okay, just for
Exactly,
my
yes.
for my understanding. So you are generating the winning number out of all tickets with this hash function.
Exactly, yes.
And if you now say, okay, I don't want that we have a hit on the bucket with the 6 numbers, I remove this ticket, then you will get a new hash, which is totally different. So you will get a new winning number. So it's not possible to remove winners out because all tickets together are defining the winning number. And if you are changing the tickets at the beginning, you will get a new winning number. So it's not possible because the way to the hash is not defined. You cannot say what is the end result and how can I change something at the beginning to get a specific end result. Correct?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we only draw the end number after the drawing has been completed. So basically, we don't know the end number yet.
Yeah.
Until we say it's finished. So that's how it works.
Interesting. Okay. So that is the algorithm, how to get the winning number. It depends on all the amount of tickets which are bought. So today it's not possible to define it because if tomorrow someone buys a new one, we will get a new number. It depends not on any other things. It relates to who is participating. Okay, then the winning number is there. What happens then? I'm now a winner in the bucket number 4. How do I see that? I recognize it on the homepage. I see here is the winning, and then how do I get the DFI I won?
Yeah, exactly. So once the drawing happens, you can actually immediately go and see on the website your winning numbers, and you see immediately how much you won in the check winnings. In the background, what will happen is a couple of minutes after the drawing, there is a process which will start, which basically triggers the payout. And the payout is basically separated in 2 transactions. The first transaction is user fund payouts. That's all the winners. This will be packed in one single transaction. So all the winners will get their money in one single transaction. And the second transaction is basically the payout of the burn mechanism, the donation, and the treasury. So we split them in 2 transactions. And once the transactions are over, the transaction IDs will be listed down here in the information. Show details here. If you scroll all the way down, you would then see the transaction listed here. You can click on it and you can check also other tickets who won it. Since everything is in the blockchain, you can go on and have a look. So I guess depending on block times and whatever, I think it probably takes 5 to 10 minutes after the drawing before you see the funds.
Okay.
So maybe on mainnet it's way faster.
I hope so.
Yeah. And that happens without anything for me to do. If I bought a ticket, I just send DFI or DUSD. I can check my numbers here, and if I win amount of DFI, I will get it back to my address. So the only thing I really have to interact is with my wallet and your deposit address.
Yes, exactly. It's just like sending DFI to any address. It works the same way. Nothing else needs to be done. This is at least for the centralized version. Once we switch to DMC, you actually have to go and manually claim the rewards.
Okay. Cool. You mentioned it now, DMC, DeFi Meta Chain. That's an outlook here. It's the future. Maybe a couple of words. What are you planning, or what are the plans? We have now our first round. We can participate. It's centralized in a kind of way you can win. It's running, but what's next?
Yeah, so we planned to actually introduce a drawing every week on the centralized version. And we do that until we have the same system basically built on DMC in a decentralized fashion. Once we have that we're going to switch over to the decentralized version. So the goal is initially, and that's our main priority at the moment, is to have the decentralized version on DMC running the way it is. And then once we have that up and running, we actually have ideas for other type of games, lottery games. And one could be price predictions, like predicting the DFI price in the next 10 minutes. This could be something like this. It could be also sports games, definitely some sports betting mechanism that you can do in complete decentralized version. So there's lots of ideas that we could implement once we have that up and running.
Okay, great. So it's just the starting, it's not the end in a kind of now finished next project. No, it's just the starting. Everyone who wants to participate, I also put the link to this website in the show notes, so it's very easy to find it for everyone. And we have now 9 days or nearly 10 days left for the first drawing. You gave us 2 weeks at the beginning, and then from next week on, I understood every week is a drawing, so 7 days. Maybe another question. So if now we have a rollover, the first, the high buckets are not won, and then the pot is increasing, is there a limit, or it's unlimited? It's really rollover?
Yeah, there is no limit. We'll just go as far as we can get. We have tested the beta system with 100,000 of tickets, and large pot size, and everything should work just fine.
Interesting. Cool. I had a look on the chat. There was no special question regarding your project. Anything from your side you want to explain, show us, describe?
I think I covered everything. Adrian, do you have more to show?
No, I think that's it.
Cool.
We showed everything.
Then I switch back from the scene that we see you again a little bit bigger. Great. Yeah, it's also over a half an hour. A lot of details you showed us. Time is going fast on YouTube. It's
It is.
other time zone. Great. Yeah, thanks for creating another project. Is here the right wording? It's not the first one you described. Really great to see people here in the community wants to build on DeFiChain, bring value to it, want to interact with the community. I think this gamification is a lot of interaction. I see a lot of responses. How does it work? How big are the sizes I can win? I hope that this Rebuild show helps everyone out there to understand a little bit more about the details, the background. I also put the link to the Telegram channel in the description, so you have a Telegram channel. Every individual questions can be raised there. I saw you are very active and try to answer every question for the users. Thanks a lot on this side. Yeah, I would say good luck to everyone who participates. Will be really interesting to see if we see this rollovers. Personally, I would say also hope so. We see it. I think a pot of 100,000 or more DFI will get a lot of attraction then. It's like
we were Arjun and myself were internally saying that maybe hopefully no one has the jackpot on the first drawing, so we get the chance to have higher pots.
Yeah, and yeah, I just want to say thank you for coming to the show. It was really great to see what's happening here, and maybe we can make a second episode in the future if there are more games, DeFi MetaChain, what else you are building, and show the community, okay, it's a living project, you're on it, you develop it, would be great. Thanks for joining and giving us insights.
Thank you very much.
All of the viewers out there here live, thanks for watching it live. Everyone else, thanks for watching it later. Have a great time and see you soon in another episode of Rebuild on DeFiChain. Have a great time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
you.